What's up? What's up? What's up? Hello, my loves. Thank you guys for tuning in again with me. And this is Talk to Me Tuesday, real talk with real people. I like to get you guys' opinions on things. Some of the things that we talk about are things that I myself deal with or that I've seen some of my friends deal with, all different kind of things. So I feel like that if we talk about it, we can get things figured out. So we're figuring it out all together. You guys are helping me, and hopefully I am helping you as well. So happy Tuesday. How's everybody's Tuesday going? Thank you guys for showing love and tuning in with me. For those of you that tune in every Tuesday, I really appreciate you. And if it's your first time tuning in, hopefully you will feel comfortable enough to chime in and get the conversation going with your girl. So I'm Sweet Pea. This is Talk to Me Tuesday. Hello, you guys. What's up? Hey, Roosevelt, how are you? How is your weekend going? How was your weekend? Since the weekend is now over, how was your weekend? I would like to say that mine was pretty good. I don't have any complaints. And for my Kansas City people, how are you guys doing with Mr. Trump there? Did you go visit him? Were you a part of the protest that's going on? What is going on with that? How are you guys doing with Trump down there? Because I see that it's all over Facebook. That there were people protesting his arrival and all that different stuff. So how is that going? Today, our topic is going to be mental illness. I think that there's a stigma behind it. So a lot of the times we don't really want to get treated. Sometimes we don't even know what a mental illness is, or, we don't want to be called crazy or weird or whatever. So we don't talk about it, but I want us to feel comfortable enough to talk about it, because talking about it fixes things and it also helps somebody. A lot of the times people just need somebody to talk to. So we're going to talk about that. I'm going to give people time to kind of join us and hop on here before we just jump right on in. So let me know how your weekend was. Let me know how your day is going. Thank you guys for watching and tuning in with me. I really appreciate the love that you guys have been showing. And show some love and share. Share it to your timeline. Invite your friends. Let them come join the conversation. And feel free that if you have a opinion that you have, or if you have a comment that you want to get out there and you want to actually say it on the camera, don't be shy. Hit that button and I will bring you on. We can join the conversation that way as well. So let's get it started. Let me see here. Okay, let's go ahead and get it started, you guys. So we're talking about mental illness and how it gets downplayed. How, we all have that friend or that family member that we know that, you might joke around and be like, oh, they're crazy. Or maybe you yourself have done some things and you kind of say like, I'm crazy or I'm weird or something like that. But how about the ones that they proclaim that they are crazy and that they are weird, but they are actually really going through something. They're actually really dealing with something, but it doesn't get treated. So some of the mental illnesses that we could be talking about is depression. A lot of the times, even in our community, we kind of downplay depression. We see it as like a weakness, or we see it as, oh, that person is just being dramatic. But how many times have a person reached out or cried out for help and it goes unnoticed, and then they end up harming somebody or harming themselves? So I feel like we should just have the dialogue, because there may be somebody out there that's dealing with mental illness themselves, or they know somebody, and then you can kind of get the conversation started as to how to get that open, how to get us talking about it so that it can be treated. Because we need to stop this stuff. As we talked about last time, we talked about generational curses and how certain things can affect your lineage. It can affect your children and it can affect their children. You can pass it down to them, and then it becomes something that now your family has to deal with, because you can also learn these kind of behaviors. as I talked about last time, my mother dealt with depression. She lost her mother when she was 6, and they didn't get any kind of counseling. She didn't get any kind of counseling or anything like that. So she just had to deal with it on her own, which led to a lot of anxiety issues, a lot of trust issues, a lot of issues where she didn't know how to handle it. And she was depressed. Me being with her 24/7 and being around her and the mood swings and stuff like that, I learned that behavior. So I learned depression, and I learned mood swings and kind of not how to control that. So it can go to your kids. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like if we discuss it and we talk about it, maybe we can call ourselves out on some of the things that we do, or some of the things that we needed like counseling for, that maybe happened in childhood, and we can prevent it from spreading to our children. One thing I have learned from dealing with mental illness for over 15 years is to not isolate yourself. Try and reach out. Yes. The stigma behind mental illness causes us to want to isolate ourselves, and not because you don't want to be looked at as weird or as crazy. So when you are dealing with, even we were talking about post-traumatic stress disorder and things that you have dealt with in your childhood, or that you dealt with in your young adult life that was never counseled or treated, or that you got therapy for, then it leads you to believe that people will see you as something's wrong with you. So you can either pretend like everything is all good, or you isolate yourself. You don't want to be around other people because you don't want them to notice that there's something going on. My parents got a divorce when I was 6 years old. A lot of the times when we deal with stuff like that, because divorce can be very traumatic for a child. Okay, I was only 6. It was my mother and my father. They were dealing with it themselves. However, I blamed myself for them becoming divorced. Okay, that's a common thing for a child when you're dealing with your parents getting divorced, is you blame yourself. So I had issues with marriage. I had issues with trust. I had issues with stability, anxiety, things. These are all kind of things that I feel like if I would have got some form of counseling or some kind of therapy, then maybe I could have been able to handle it a little bit better. Just like with being in an abusive relationship, you can have post-traumatic stress from being in an abusive relationship. And the stigma behind us, not wanting to get counseling or not wanting to talk to somebody about it, we take that into our next relationship. I think a lot of mental illness is developed, meaning not birthed with it. Things like for me, I have a brother who was born premature. He was only 2 pounds. He didn't get to be fully developed and anything like that. So he didn't progress the way that other people think. You know what I'm saying? Like, he wasn't talking when he was supposed to. He wasn't walking when he was supposed to. And my mother, seeing that he wasn't doing those things, got him checked. So she learned that he was mentally retarded. This is something that I feel like, he was born with. It's not anything that he can be, that can be controlled. It was not anything that could have been prevented. It's something that happened. But because she got him checked early, she was able to plan for, what type of schools he was going to go to and all those kind of things. But how many times have we come across a person and you just write them off as being crazy, or you write them off as like, oh, they're a little off. I know you have people that you went to school with that you just say, oh, they're slow, but it could have really been something wrong mentally with that person, but we don't address it. They said, I was reading a thing in Psychology Today. Over 450 million people worldwide suffer with some form of a mental health issue. Only 60% of those people, 60% of those people do not even get care for it. So we have people that are walking around with mental issues freely, walking around, not getting it taken care of. These are the same people that you could be talking to, that you could be friends with. Just the other day, there was a video of a girl who was cheated on, and she burnt the man's car, busted out all his windows. I know you guys probably already seen this. Busted out all his windows, burned his car, took his steering wheel off. And it was, a lot of comments were like, oh, that's crazy, whatever. But how many times do we promote this type of behavior without pulling sis to the side and being like, something ain't right. Something is not right. If you think it's okay to burn somebody's stuff or, acting crazy, yelling and screaming and fighting and all that, it is a mental issue that's going on. And a lot of the times we like to say, let's just give it to God and let's just pray it away when somebody's off. But here's my question. If you have a heart issue, or if you were diagnosed with cancer or diabetes, would you say to that person, just give it to God and pray about it? You can say that. It's nothing wrong with praying about it. It's nothing wrong with giving it to God. But some stuff also needs to be handled medically. Some stuff also needs counseling. Some stuff also needs therapy. You have physical therapy to get a person's legs back in order or a person's arms back in order. But you don't think you need therapy to get your brain back in order, to get your mind back right? Like, that's the kind of stuff that I'm not understanding. We're proclaiming that we're crazy. A lot of women like to say, oh, I'm crazy. That's you just accept it. But we don't want to accept it enough to say, okay, something's not right. Let me go get these issues taken care of. Even when you want to address it, there's a 90-day wait where I live to be seen by a mental health professional. I have noticed that that is the common thing that people say, is that they can't find a person to address it, or they can't, there's not somebody in their race that they feel trustworthy enough to give this information to or whatever, or to talk to. But at least the first step has been taken, as that you are aware something's not right. And then you're going to talk to a mental health professional about it. How many times do people suffer in silence? How many times do you have, the suicide rate is ridiculous. And they have it to the age limit of being a 9-year-old, starting as young as 9. What is going on to where a 9-year-old is dealing with depression, anxiety, stress, all these things, and it's not being addressed to where they feel they need to take it further and take their life? Is what, that's what I'm speaking on. It's like, when is it to the point of where, okay, enough is enough. We're losing our kids. It's trickling down to our babies. Enough is enough. We need to start promoting that. Yes, you go to the doctor, get your heart right. You go to the doctor and get your body right and get your body checked on. But what about your mind? If things can go wrong with your heart, if things can go wrong with your stomach, your gallbladder, your kidneys, why don't you think that things can be sick, something sick can be going on in your head? Like, why is that not something that we talk about? I know I need help. My music became my sanctuary. And that's good that you recognize it and that you do find something that can help you. A lot of the times we like to, drink or smoke instead of addressing what it is that's the problem. If you grew up in a home and your dad just left or whatever, or you had a mother who was depressed, and you can learn these things. You can pick up on these things from your mother, from your father. And if you recognize it, then you can take the step further and get help behind it. Because a lot of the times we need to get help beyond just ourselves, because you can tell yourself a whole bunch of stuff. You can talk yourself out of believing that something's really wrong, and then you don't address it. Negative attitudes and stereotypes associated with mental health is weird, crazy, oh, he's just slow, oh, it's just something wrong with them. We even put it on ourselves. I'm crazy. I'm this, I'm that. But then you don't want to go ahead and get the help that you need to take care of what it is that's causing you to be crazy. I took care of myself by talking to it. This is my therapy, talking about it. I know a lot of the stuff that I deal with as far as anxiety and depression was learned. I don't think I was born with it. I think it was learned and picked up by watching who I was around. And because of me feeling like, oh, I don't want people to think something's wrong with me, I kind of just swallowed it and didn't handle it. The stigma needs to diminish. Illness is illness. People need to realize that. That is, yes, Exactly. Exactly. It let you know, if you constantly, if there's a person that is telling you that they're sad, or they're having these crazy thoughts, why is it that the first thing that we go to is that we want to say, oh, it's okay, you need to be stronger, or oh, you just need to stop being so dramatic. It does not have to always be this person is dramatic, this person is not strong enough, because mental illness can affect you, and it makes you already want to separate yourself. So then when you feel like, you know what, something's not right, let me tell somebody, and they tell you, oh, you're just not strong enough, that is not the way to go. These are the people that need help. These are the people that need you to say, you know what, maybe you should talk to somebody. Maybe you should get counseling. Let them talk to you. You don't have to have the answers, but maybe they just need to get it out. In our community, we love to downplay mental health illness. We love to say, oh, you're not strong enough. And I know that it comes from slavery, because our only strong foundation, when we were slaves, our only strong foundation was prayer, and was to believe in God. So a lot of the times when there was some trauma, because there definitely was trauma, when there was depression because their child was being taken away, it was looked at as weakness. Like, you need to be stronger than that. You need to stand up and be stronger than that. You can handle anything. And anybody can be broken. You don't need, the mental illness has always had the stigma of shame. Yes, it has. Back then, when you were mentally ill, you were locked up or you were murdered. You were not counseled. You know what I'm saying? So there's a long line of shame attached to it. There's a long line of name calling and just plain ignorance about the fact that you can have issues with your body. What makes you think that your mind cannot be affected? It shouldn't have a stigma. Sometimes it is a chemical imbalance. Yes. My mother, when she had her issues that she dealt with, it was a chemical imbalance. She got medication and she was fine. But has she not? And which in the beginning, she didn't tell anybody because she didn't want to be looked at as weak. So she didn't tell anybody, to the fact that it got to a point of where she had to handle it. She had to handle it. So why does it have to get to a point of being so over the top and extreme, where people are getting locked up, or people are going out there taking their own life or taking someone else's life, before we say, okay, you know what, maybe we should have went ahead and believed them when they said that something was wrong? Do you have people that you know of that, have a mental illness that they're dealing with? Or do you yourself have a mental illness that you dealt with? And how did you get over the fact of feeling shameful about it, or feeling like you're weird or different, or being too scared to ask for help? How did you get over that? For me, my children, me not wanting to put it on them, so to speak, because you can learn it. You can definitely see the mood swings and the kind of from high to low, the sadness, you don't want to get out of bed and stuff like that. You can watch this happen, and then you pick it up and take it on as it's your own, and it's learned behavior. Back in the day, in the Black community, people looked at mental as a shame instead of illness, right? They look at it as shame. They look at it as a weakness. And it's looked at as, you're lying. Like, no, there's nothing wrong with you. You're just being dramatic. If somebody came to you and was like, oh, my chest is hurting, my heart is hurting, you wouldn't be like, oh, you're being dramatic. No, the first thing you would say is, well, you need to go get that checked out. Have you contacted the doctor? If they're saying, I just got diagnosed with diabetes, you're not going to be like, oh, shut up, you all right, nothing's wrong with you. No, you're going to be like checking up on them, making sure that they're going to their doctor, making sure they're taking their medication. Hey, Sonia, thank you for tuning in. You're going to be making sure that they're doing the things to get themselves healthy. So why is it that with mental health, we don't understand that it is real? It is a real situation. There are so many people, as I said, about 60% of people walking around with untreated mental health issues. There are these people that are going out there, just like with our men that have been in jail and in prison. When you get out of jail or prison, you don't think that you have something that, maybe there are probably some men that can go to jail and be fine, come out and be okay. But there are also those other men that have been mentally traumatized by the experience of being incarcerated, and they do not get any type of counseling, any type of help or therapy to make sure that they are okay to be back on the street out here walking. You don't think that you have post-traumatic stress disorder from being incarcerated? Like, that's unrealistic to you? That definitely is real. You don't think you have depression for being locked away? That definitely is real. And how can you function as a normal adult without getting it checked on, without getting it talked about, or getting it out, period? A lot of the times we hold that stuff in and don't talk about it because we don't want people to look at us as crazy, but then it ends up eating you up where you can't even function outside as a normal adult, young adult, whatever. I experienced my first depression experience, which is a mental illness. I got counseling because I thought it could never happen to me because I thought living a positive life. That's another thing. It's like, because my depression was triggered after my first child. I did not know anything about the depression that comes, the mommy blues. Nobody told me about that. Nobody talked to me about after you have a kid, what can happen. Okay, so I'm sitting here and I'm having the craziest thoughts possible. Okay, whatever you thinking in your head could be a crazy thought. Yes, it definitely was something that I was thinking in my head. And because the thoughts were so crazy, I had to tell somebody. I'm like, something is not, this is not normally how I am. Something is wrong. I had to tell somebody. And that's how I found out that it was the postpartum depression. How many women out there don't even know about postpartum depression? How many women have went through it? You made it out. Yes, good for you. Rah, rah. But you never spoke on it. So now your friend don't know. Now your girlfriends don't know. And they're dealing with it. And they're suffering in silence because you didn't speak on it. It is real. I did not make none of that stuff up. I wasn't making any of that stuff up. I was not creating that stuff. I'm a very positive person. I have learned to be positive, even in the negative situations that I've dealt with. And I did not create any of that stuff. I was not creating them crazy thoughts or the constant crying and all that. I wasn't being just emotional. It was an imbalance that happened. Okay. They tell you to get your body right, but they didn't tell me anything about what could go on with my mind. Okay. So we don't talk about it enough. The age you go to prison at is a mental age you come out as. Yes. Like, the only reason why I speak on it is because my father, he went away for 6 years. He got sentenced to 14. Good behavior, he got out in 6. Okay. But the age that he did go in there as was the exact age he came out. Yes, ma'am. Yes, that is very true. When he did the book studying, yes, he got his degree and all that stuff while he was there. But mentally, he had not progressed. And it caused him to act out and almost get himself back in there. So thank God that he did talk to somebody and he did get counseling for that he was able to progress and to grow up, so to speak, because he was young when he went in. It is a fact that people who go to jail do leave with PTSD. That is why they have a hard time fitting back into society. Yes. And how is it that we like to, talk about them? We like to make jokes about how they get back in there, but they go back in there because they don't feel comfortable out here. If you don't get treated, you don't feel comfortable, you feel alienated. They don't even know how to function out here. They don't know how to, some think about the ones that's been in jail and think about how much technology progresses each year. So if you go away for 4 or 5 years and you come back and you're trying to function, technology is totally different. You won't even understand, Facebook and Twitter and all that stuff. You already have to deal with that. And then you weren't out here talking and communicating. You weren't out here seeing the progression of politics and all that stuff. And then the stuff that you deal with inside of there, because it definitely is not the same out here. It's a lot of trauma that you go through when you are inside, because a lot of them people have been in there for a long time. So you get adjusted to the way that works. And then you have to come out here and try to get adjusted to society without thinking that you need some type of assistance with it. Come on now. Come on now. A lot of women didn't know that they can give a so-called normal life in depression. Yeah, it's easy. It's easy to put on that smile, because I wanted to pretend that everything was okay. I didn't want people to be like, well, what's wrong with her? I didn't want to be looked at as weird. So it's very easy to go through your normal routine of getting up, getting the kids ready, taking them to school, all that stuff, while inside is turmoil, straight up turmoil. And you're thinking that it's okay. I'm going to deal with it because of the highs and the lows, because you can go from happy to sad. You think it's okay. You're like, I'm sad today. Oh, I'll be okay. The next day you're happy. So you're like, okay, everything's all right, but you're not functioning at a normal level because you have that going on. Even after, I didn't take any medication. A couple of times I was told that I needed medication, but I actually believed that I could handle it myself. And I do still have, incidents where I revert back to that, but it's never as severe as it was. I'm still dealing with it. I just don't want to be on medication. But there are a lot of women whose behaviors I see mimic what I was going through, and they don't even recognize that it is a depression that they're in. If you are, and I want you guys to chime in as well. If you have post-traumatic stress disorder, if you have anxiety, if you have depression, or anything like that, what are some of the symptoms that you noticed? Because some people don't even know. I had my first panic attack maybe about two or 3 years ago. I had my first panic attack, okay? I did not know it was a panic attack. I literally thought I was dying, okay? I couldn't breathe. I felt like there was a balloon, there was air in my head, and my heart was racing. And I literally thought I was about to die. And then all of a sudden it was gone. And I'm like, what in the world, what is going on? So because it wasn't anything, serious, I'm like, okay, well, it wasn't a heart attack. It wasn't a stroke. What else could be going on? And I noticed that when I start thinking of the future things, like what I had to take care of, what was coming up, it would come back. It would pop up again. So I recognized, like, okay, that's what's going on. I'm having a panic attack. I didn't even know I could be affected by panic attacks, okay? I never had anxiety issues before. I never had that type of thing before. So without me knowing what it was, the first time it happened, I kind of wrote it off. But now actually knowing this is what this is what is going on. How many other people suffer with that and they don't even know that that's what's going on with them? They don't even know they're depressed. They don't even know that they're having an anxiety issue. I was even to the point where I'm like thinking about going, out somewhere. My hands are sweating and my heart is racing. And I'm like, what is going on? No, I'm going to stay home today. You start secluding yourself because you don't want it to be noticed with other people. Studies reveal that 2.3 million people in the United States have bipolar disorder, which is also referred to as manic depressive disease. Further scientific studies confirm that African Americans, however, African Americans develop bipolar disorder at the same rate as Americans of other races. However, Black Americans are much less likely to seek treatment or a proper diagnosis for their illness. Because why? Why do you think that? And I don't even want to say it like that. Why do you think other people get treatment and we don't? Why in our community do we feel like we cannot acknowledge something is wrong? Why do we feel that way? And why is it that the common response when you are dealing with anxiety or depression or post-traumatic stress, a lot of us, there is so much child trauma that happens. Being molested can cause you to have traumatic stress, post-traumatic stress disorder, and trust issues, and depression as well, because you start feeling these things. You start correlating these things with what happens to you, and you can even blame yourself for it. I will do a live on molestation and how it affects us, and why we don't talk about that either. I myself was dealing with being molested at the age of 9, and it was very kept hush hush. So not only do we not speak on mental illness, we don't speak on things like this either, and we don't talk about the effects it has on us when we become adults. So once you don't treat it and you grow up, it don't just go away. It doesn't disappear. It represents itself in your marriage, in your job, in your children, the way you raise your children. It presents itself if you do not get it taken care of, if you do not get that type of counseling that you need. And when, just like with other races, when parents get divorced, they put their child in therapy. And we like to laugh and joke and be like, ha ha, they're in therapy, but they're actually getting the help that we overlook. We cannot keep letting these type of things that can affect you from growing and can make you be stuck in a certain time, in a certain age. It can prevent your growth. We cannot keep letting these type of things affect our community. You wonder why you see us and we're stuck. Why are we stuck? We're stuck because we have not got healing from things that our grandparents dealt with, that things that their parents dealt with. We are stuck, and we will never make progression unless we get unstuck. How do we get unstuck? That's why we're speaking about these type of things that we like to put under the rug. Like my grandma used to say, you can sweep it under the rug as much as you want. Next thing you know, you're going to be tripping over that rug because it's going to be so much stuff piled up under it. Aren't you tired of tripping over it? Like, especially when little stuff happens and you find yourself blowing up, completely blowing up. That is not a normal reaction. That's not a normal reaction. I did not think it was depression. I thought I was just tired because I had become a caregiver of 2 elderly family members. I found myself overwhelmed. I was slow in making decision and action and didn't feel like being bothered with other people. I think it's a culture thing. You hear people say, I don't go to counselor and I don't go to the doctor. You are so right. If we don't heal, we don't grow. A lot of the times, even when I myself was speaking about it, and talking about a lot, I didn't want to speak on anything, okay? I didn't want to speak on the depression. I didn't want to speak on the anxiety because we do, it's even when you're kids, the kids that were in the slow class or whatever, that class, we talked about them. You called them crazy. You called them weird. You made jokes about them and stuff like that. So that stuff is still in your head. Even when you become an adult, you think about the things that we say. What have we spoke on people who have openly came out and said that they have a problem? What are we speaking? Are we speaking like welcoming and positive and I'm so glad that you're getting that handle, I'm so glad that you're dealing with that? No, we talk crazy and we say stuff to them that makes them feel less than and makes them feel different from us. So it makes it an uncomfortable situation and it's not a welcoming situation. So it just grows and festers and it becomes a thing that we just continue. It's a cycle that we have continued and we're going to keep continuing it if nobody decides, you know what, let's talk about it. Let's get this stuff fixed. There are, even with whooping your kids, you do know that came from slavery. Us whooping our kids came from slavery because we saw them breaking us down that way. So that's how we function and that's how we learn to break our children down, is to raise them in fear. That it's things like this that we don't even know where stuff comes from. We don't know how to treat it and we're stuck. And we love to holler and yell about why is there no progression in our community. We have no healing in our community. We don't speak about anything that's troubling, that you can't even show your emotions. You can't even be sad about stuff without being told, suck it up. Stop being weak. Stop being dramatic. We are so, even women, even Black women, it's like we cannot cry. It's like we can't complain or say like I'm hurt. We just have to deal with it. When you are dealing with, even with being depressed, it's not a white woman issue. It's not a white person issue. Depression affects all of us. It can affect our men as well. How many of our men are going through depression and we want to call them weak, or we want to say that they're gay or dramatic? Men can have depression too. And it's not, and not being treated is causing them to shut down, and our males are shutting down. Our males are not being able to be a father to their children. Our males are not able to be a husband to us, because they are also dealing with depression and they don't even know it can affect them. Did you know? Did you know? Tell me you know. Tell me you knew about it. That our men can be depressed as well. That our men can have anxiety issues. That our men can have post-traumatic stress from their father not being there, from them being incarcerated, from them dealing with being black in America. So they can be physically hurt, but they can't mentally be hurt. Come on now. Tell me you knew that. Tell me you knew. We love to say, girl, I'm crazy. I'll do this. I'll do that. I'll do this. Blah, blah, blah. I'm crazy. But we will not acknowledge the fact that we need help for that crazy. Okay? How many times have you went off, bashed that man's windows in, cut his tire? Girl, that ain't normal. Come on, sis. And if your friend is telling you that she busted out his windows and she slashed his tires, and you don't think, girl, something is not right. Something is not right. Something is not right. That is not right. Come on, sis. That ain't right. The dudes that when a woman breaks up with them and they stalk them or they call them constantly, that is not normal. That's not normal behavior. That is something wrong up here. If you cannot find yourself to just, okay, they don't want to be with me no more, let it go, something is not right. If you have been hurt, if you have lost someone, if there has been any kind of serious trauma in your life, you need to be getting counseling, therapy. You need something. You cannot do it on your own. And yes, there are some things where, you can kind of train yourself to handle it, but it's still going to be there. It's still going to be there. I still have issues with my depression. I still have issues with my anxiety. It's still there. It's not as elevated as it was, because recognizing it helps, but it's still there. Yes, Miss Jackie. And Sonia, it runs in my family, so I know very well. When are we going to stop it? When are we going to stop the cycle? When are we going to acknowledge the cycle and stop the cycle? When are we going to acknowledge that these things can also affect us as well? It's not just a white person issue. It's not just a white person thing that can be going on. We are human beings. Human beings have things that go wrong with them. Human beings have things that go wrong with their body. So why would it not be where it can be a mental issue as well? You can hurt your stomach, you can hurt your arm, you can hurt your heart, you can hurt your liver. All these things can be damaged. Why do you not believe that your brain, our brain can be damaged, or our brain needs healing as well? Now, the busting out the window can be a release therapy. Yeah, it'll release it for a minute, busting windows out, but then what? You still gonna be angry. Like, that ain't gonna help it. You still gonna be mad. Now, I done thought about busting some windows out myself. I ain't gonna sit up here and lie. I have thought about busting some windows out, but it ain't right. I would be upset if something happened and then I go out there and my windows is busted. I would be mad. Like, are you kidding me? So no. Release therapy. Yes, release therapy. 63% of African Americans believe mental health condition is a sign of weakness. 63% of African Americans. And this was not from Psychology Today. This was the National Mental Health Institution for African Americans that is quoting this. So it's not white people trying to put it on us. These are black people who studied it and researched it and do understand that this is something that affects us. We deal with the same kind of things. We can have diabetes. We can have cancer. They get diabetes. They get cancer, dementia, and all these kind of things. So we just think mental illness skipped us. Like, oh, it only affects them. It skipped us, though. No, we have a lot of trauma that we don't deal with. We have a lot of issues that we don't deal with. The whole police brutality is an issue that can cause us to have post-traumatic stress disorder. And that's just one thing that affects our community. The thing that Auntie has made a few mistakes. I done some stuff too. Trust and believe. I have never went as far as, busting out some windows, but I have done some crazy stuff too. And I was proud about the craziness, which is funny that I'm speaking on this now. I was proud. I'm like, yeah, I'm crazy. So what? But I had to realize that is something. The things that my crazy that I was dealing with was some real mental stuff. Like I had to take a step back and realize, girl, that ain't right. That's not normal. The type of thoughts you having, that ain't normal, honey. Okay, you need to see somebody about that. If you had a bad breakup, you need counseling. If you have dealt with a real bad breakup, you need counseling, because all you gonna do is pack that in a bag and you're gonna take it to your next relationship. So even if your counseling is talking to your pastor, if it's talking to your friends about it, you got to get that out, because all we do is we keep packing up that bag. I know y'all know that Erykah Badu song Bag Lady. Okay, she was trying to tell y'all, you just keep packing it up, and you dragging it everywhere you go. If you don't get that stuff out, when you leave this earth, you're going to leave that big old bag to your kids. And then they're going to drag it around, but they're also going to put their stuff in it as well. So I know y'all feel me on my analogy, okay? If you don't unpack the bag, you are going to just keep piling stuff in it. And then when you leave, you're going to leave it to your kids, and they're going to drag it along with them, and they're going to pack their stuff in there as well. And it's just going to keep going and going and going. It will never be broken. We will never get any type of healing. We need to get the healing so that we can progress as a people, as a complete whole people. If your girlfriend is going through some stuff, be an ear. That's what I'm going to put out there. Don't be judgmental. We love to judge. We love to judge, and that's not our place. That was never our place. We love to say that, you know what, oh, she crazy or whatever, but we don't ever want to offer some assistance and some help. So what I'm going to tell y'all is, let's stop judging, and let's actually help our sisters, and let's help our brothers out. If your man is going through something, yes, no more bags. No more bags. If you see your man is going through an emotional issue, an emotional change, and he's been down, talk to him. What's going on? Because our men are being overlooked. Our men are being overlooked. They have anxiety issues they're dealing with as well. It's not just us. We love to just focus on us. What about our men? We need our men. We need them here. So if they're going through stuff, don't call them weak. Don't call them soft. Don't make it uncomfortable for them to come to you. Let them get that stuff out. Let them get it out. No more bags. No more bags. Go ahead and unpack that bag so that your kids don't have to drag it around. I was immature with a hot temper. If I talk to someone, I might have blew it off. We will always have baggage. We need to just pack light and work through the baggage. Yes. Yeah, I wish I would have talked a lot of my stuff out too, because I'm not a buster out of windows, but I will definitely throw some stuff. Okay, like I will flip a table over. I'll have problems with punching walls. Yes, guilty. I have punched some walls. Ugh. I hate saying that, because now looking back at it, was like, girl, what was wrong with you? Girl, some of the stuff I did was just embarrassing. Like, and it took me to be like, to talk about it and see, that's not normal. The way you're handling that is not normal. So if you have a girlfriend that you can talk to, that's amazing. Get the right people around you that want to uplift you and that want to support your growth and want you to do better and want you to feel better. Not the people that's going to make you, be thinking that you're weird or that you're crazy or make you feel embarrassed about it. Honesty is healing. Yes. Once I actually, was honest with myself, I was able to heal, because we are really good at lying to ourselves. We are really good at that. We are really, really good at lying to ourselves. There is absolutely nothing wrong with praying about it, but we need to be proactive. Be proactive about it. Just like you can have heart issues and body issues, we need to take the brain and our mind issues seriously. So thank you guys for tuning in with me while we talk about mental health issues. If you are just now tuning in, we were talking about mental health issues and the stigma behind it. So if it's something that you were dealing with, depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety issues, the postpartum depression, if you have that you were dealing with, like, post those symptoms down there, post the steps that you did to get treated, and so we can get this figured out. You don't know who you're helping by just speaking on it, by just talking about it and getting it out there. You have no idea how many people you can heal, and how many people kind of let their guard down when they know they are not alone. Our mind loves to make us feel like we have to deal with it by ourselves, but you are not by yourself. There are a lot of people that have to deal with this, and they're dealing with it in silence. So if we speak about it and we talk about it, that knowledge will be there, and we'll be able to heal. And we can also heal our children, because they are the most important. They're the ones going to be left after we leave. So thank you guys for tuning in with your girl. I'm thinking the next week we'll go ahead and talk about the stigma of things that can happen in your childhood. I don't know, but I will definitely let you guys know by the weekend what we're going to be talking about. Thank you for everybody that tapped in and that were brave enough to put your comments. I will be checking this later on, so continue to comment, continue to share, you guys. Show some love and share. And I thank you guys for tapping in with me every Tuesday. Remember, as always, you are right. I'm the counselor for any people, and helping them help me. We heal with communication. Yes, let's stop the stigma of sweeping it under the rug. Let's stop the stigma of hush hush, and let's stop the stigma of it's their problem, it don't affect us, because it definitely affects us. We are human as well, and we have human things that affect us. You got to want to change. That's the first step to getting help. Yes. So I hope that if you are dealing with anything, you acknowledge that something's not right, and then you take the steps to get that taken care of. I love you guys. It's all love this way. And I got to leave you with be you, do you. Be who you are and do what you were put on this earth to do. Until next Tuesday, you guys.